Happy Monday, Pathlings. I'm Spin Pixie, and this week we will be taking a look at the Witch's Magical Altar.
Dark and light and shining moon, east then south then west then north. Hearken to the witches ye, here we come to call ye forth. Earth and water, air and fire, wand and pentacle and sword, work ye unto our desire, hearken ye unto our word. Chords and censer, scourge and knife, powers of the witches' blade, waken ye unto life. Come ye as the charm is made. Queen of heaven, queen of hell, horned hunter of the night, lend your power unto our spell, work our will by magic light. By all the power of land and sea, by all the might of moon and sun, as we do will, so mote it be. Chant the spell, and be it done.
So welcome. This is my first altar that I'm going to show you today. This is my Morrigan/Samhain altar. And out of all the years that I've been doing an altar for my goddess, I think this year I'm the most proud of this altar. If you look here, I've done everything with a specific purpose. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you a little bit of it now. So, starting off on the left, you'll see the skull with the hawk feathers. And the hawk feathers are from a hawk that passed away on the property about last summer, I believe. And then you can see my corn dolly I just made this past Maybon. And I made that out of just regular corn husk that I harvested from the corn that we had last summer. And then I'm standing it up actually using like a paper tissue roll. And then I have my sea salt, and the earth from the property behind her. And that represents Morrigan as the sovereign. And then in the middle you can see all my candles. And then if you come over here, you see the pomegranates, which to me represent the bounty of the season. And they also represent the changing of the season from the lighter times to the darker times. And then also because they're my pomegranates that I grow, it's a sign of the work that I've done throughout the season. And they are surrounding the Tree of Life chalice. And it's just about the circle of life, the bounty of the earth, things of that nature. And then next to them I have a pomegranate tart warmer, which has pomegranate in it, which is kind of like the scent of the season. And then I have another skull that has the hawk feathers in it, and as well as other incense and things like that as well. So let's go ahead and take you by the window, and I'll show you the ancestral altar. So this next altar I'm going to show you is my ancestral altar that I'm slowly accumulating for Samhain. And this is dedicated to my grandparents. So I have my little headstones there, and at the top you can see the American flag for my grandpa, because he was in the army for the Korean War. And then I have my little candle here, and then I have two little lanterns on either side that will light their way home. And then hopefully my light doesn't go out on me, but here, if we get a little closer, you can see I have a few things that remind me of them surrounding their picture. So you can see my grandma, she was in ceramics, and she made a hedgehog whistle, so I have that there. And then she also made me a turkey for Thanksgiving out of an acorn. And then my grandpa's pocket knife, and then I have the key to their home, where they used to live, but it was just kind of like a symbol of homecoming. So I have that there as well. And the reason I have the plastic on the headstones is because I want to make sure the cat's going to leave them alone before I take them off. And also to hold the flag in there. But anyway, so I'm slowly growing this for Samhain. This is another altar that I'm going to keep up or move so that I can keep it up in a more regular fashion than having it just in my window. But the reason I liked it in the window is because my grandma was one that probably would look outside and watch the hills and, you know, the yard and all that kind of stuff. She'd be into that. So, so there you go. Oh, and plus they were also both earth elements. And that's another reason that I wanted it in the window. So that's altar number 2. So what is an altar? Well, an altar is the focal point of your spell or ritual. It's where all of the implementations or ingredients of your spell is stored. It has your herbs, your water, your salt, your grimoire, whatever you would like, whatever you would need for a particular sabbat, spell, or ritual. Are there conditions or guidelines for which to set up an altar? A few traditions have different variations upon height and size of altar, as well as what tools would be represented upon your altar, but in the end, it is specifically up to you. The purpose of anything that you're going to use within your spell, your circles, or anything in your craft is to get you to the point where you feel that you are able to commune with nature or with the energies of your deities. So if it has a certain correspondence that is supposed to be, it's more important that you find the correspondences that really connect and resonate with you so that you can connect to that energy. So as far as tools are concerned upon the altar, basics for any altar setup are the chalice, which can be any sort of household mug or cup, incense burner, which you can make out of foil, your wand, which can be a simple tree branch, an athame, which you can make out of wood or cardboard, whichever suits you, you know, and crystals or stones if you desire, and candles. There's no specific guidelines as to what your tools represents, as long as they are your cue. For example, the one thing you want to maintain is that all of the elements are represented on the altar. And those correspondences can be different for everyone. For example, if you are someone who resonates driftwood with water, like I do, because you got it from the beach, then that would be representative not of earth because it's wood, but water because of where you found it. And if you'd like to use something like, tarot cards for spirit, like I do, or a candle, or a shell, maybe a shell's for water, or for earth because it is a sign of earth. Whichever you prefer, whatever gets you connected to those elemental energies. In the end, it's all what connects to you and what you connect with. Now, why do we stand at the altar? Well, some of the reasons that you're going to probably go to your altar is if you're practicing a spell or a ritual, or if you choose to do a daily Eucharist or daily devotional to your deity. The altar is basically the place where you connect to your deity. It is the portal or the doorway that takes you out of this plane into the next plane where you can commune with your deities. It is also a place where your deities come to be nourished by you, to be given food and drink. So when it comes to what you allow upon your altar, you might want to keep that in mind. For example, when I was first starting out and I first had my altar, a friend of mine put her trash on the altar and said, "There, now my trash can be blessed," because she was too lazy, frankly, to get up and put it in the trash can. And I told her where she could go and take her trash, quite literally and figuratively, and basically gave her a huge diatribe for not respecting my altar enough to keep her trash on it, and saying to my deities that basically all they were worth to her was trash. So I try to keep mindful of keeping trash, drinks that are not for my deities, electronics, things of that nature. I try to keep them off of my altar, because I don't like interference. I don't like If it's a table that my deities will come to or my ancestors will come to, then I would like it clean. If it's a portal that I'm using, then I'm not going to want anything to interfere with that energy. Regardless of what I'm using my altar for, I try to maintain the cleanliness of my altar and to make sure that it is always at the utmost potency and cleanliness. Do altars get dirty? Of course they do. I mean, you have your candle wax, your incense ashes. If you're crafting or working at your altar, you have your wood chips or whatever, your sandpaper shavings, whatever you're doing. So it's important to maintain and clean those altars. Also, change up your altar every once in a while. I change my altars up for the Sabbats. I change my altars up for rituals, for seasons, for just because my deity requests certain things of me. It's always good to change things up because it shows your deities that you're giving them more time than just whenever you're calling on them for something or wanting to work with them for something. Now, there are different types of altars, as I illustrated in the beginning of this video. There are different types of religions that use altars. But all of those different ideas, all of those different ways of doing an altar, no altar is right or wrong. It's simply your own. Don't be afraid to ask questions, but in the end, take everything with a grain of salt because it's what resonates, what cues you, or clues you in, tunes you into those energies. Okay, so the final thing I'm going to get into is cleansing and consecrating your sacred space. Basically what I do before I set up an altar is I make sure that everything is washed and cleaned of wax or anything like that. And then I sage it or I do whatever I feel makes it clean, makes it not only physically clean but spiritually clean. And then I'll place it on my altar. So when you cleanse and you consecrate an altar, it's two different things. The cleansing is the washing, the cleaning, and all that stuff. Cleansing it of the negative energy. The consecrating is to make it sacred, to make it designated for the particular deity or deities you're using them for. And then once your altar tools and everything are cleansed and consecrated, then before placing them on the altar, sometimes people like to do altar cloths. An altar cloth can be basically made of anything that you would like for it to be made from. I use sheets or pillowcases. I have used anything and everything that I could think of, tablecloths, whatever makes you feel like your deity is represented. Whether it be in colors or pictures or anything like that, whatever gets you, thinking about your deity. And then that's pretty much it. I hope that this information is useful to you, and I hope you will stay tuned for everyone else's videos on altars. And until next time, have a wonderful week. Many, many blessings. Bye-bye.